Good morning, everybody. How is everyone this morning? Here in Seattle, it is still okay. Looks like we had it turn off, but now we're good. All right. If anyone can't hear me, let me know. What we're going to talk about today, our primary topics of conversation are one, paperwork and Amazon SOP. And I know that sounds super, super boring, but it has come up multiple times this week. Why does Amazon do what Amazon does? So that's really what that's about. Like, why do we have to do paperwork a certain way? Why do we have to talk to Amazon a certain way? And then the second thing I wanted to talk about is about the whole bunch of inquiries this week have come in on inauthentics. Again, that seems to be another thing that's coming up lately from Amazon. So we'll talk about that. And then the third thing that I wanted to talk about this morning is general Q4 readiness and some of the things that we're seeing so far already. Okay. All right, so the first thing about paperwork and the Amazon SOP, we run into this a lot, but a lot of people seem to think that Amazon should make sense. And I am here to tell you, don't expect that. What you should expect is that someone at Amazon has created an SOP for whatever that particular task is. There's an SOP. If there is not an SOP for that task, then your poor ticket will just sit languishing for a while because usually they can't do any work unless there is an SOP. So they'll end up making an SOP, writing it, rolling it through the right chains of command, and then finally putting the SOP in place, and your ticket finally gets answered. So literally, this is how it works. If there isn't an SOP, you don't have an answer to a question. So we've been working with a client who needs to get approved for a subcategory. And they keep providing us with commercial invoices. And Amazon does not accept commercial invoices. They don't accept pro forma invoices. They don't accept anything unless it says invoice. And it doesn't matter if the content is the same. It doesn't matter if the piece of paper contains the same information. If it doesn't say invoice, it doesn't meet the requirement. It's very simple. It's also infuriating, but it's also very simple. So if you are in that kind of paperwork loop, then just keep in mind that your paperwork needs to match what they're asking for exactly. That means it needs to say invoice. If they ask for an invoice, it needs to say invoice and nothing else. A pro forma invoice is not an invoice. A commercial invoice is not an invoice. An invoice is a bill of sale that Amazon expects to see, and it does not matter if it's coming from China or anywhere else in the world or the US. They want it to look a certain way. The whole system was designed around wholesale because they believed for a long time, and this has been the case for a long time, that the seller community, the marketplace community, were all resellers. So that's what the whole system was based around, was what would a reseller who works with wholesalers or distributors have? An invoice. So the whole system was set up with that in mind. For those of you who are buying from Chinese sellers, or for those of you who are doing retail arbitrage or some other form of arbitrage, you're not going to have the right paperwork because they didn't make the SOP for you. They made the SOP for what they thought most marketplace sellers were. Okay. The second thing to keep in mind is that all your data needs to match with what's in Amazon. This, I cannot tell you how many times this comes up where someone's like, oh yeah, well, that was my office address. That's not at Amazon. Okay, well, then you need to add the address at Amazon. So to add addresses, it's very simple. Log into your seller account, then go into Amazon.com and add the address. So it's easier to add addresses on the Amazon side than it is on the Seller Central side. So I usually just go directly into the buyer account and add it there. It still counts as one of your addresses. And it's easier to manage there. So you want to make sure that you've got an address that matches your business exactly. That means your business name, your business address, any suite numbers, everything to where all the numbers match, your phone number matches, and then make that your official registered address. And the official registered address is something that you select within your Seller Central account. Make sure that your official registered address matches your invoice. I know this seems all very simple and kind of silly, but I can't tell you how many times people come to us and said, Amazon won't accept my paperwork. And then I ask some basic questions. It feels like feels a little bit like computer tech support. Is your computer plugged in? And my question first is, something that sounds really dumb. Does it say invoice? No? Okay, well, there's your first problem. And the second question, did you restart? Right? My second question is usually, what's your official address? Does the invoice match your official address? And if that doesn't match, then that's going to be a problem. The third thing that you have to pay attention to with invoices is there any way to validate that the product that you bought is the product that you're selling? Most of the time, invoice names don't match Amazon seller names, right? Because your titles are mostly like, that's the SEO piece, right? So your titles often don't match the product title. And then often people will do like the short title in invoices anyway. So can Amazon even verify that the thing that you bought is the thing that you're selling? Is there a UPC on there? Is there an item number? Is there a SKU? Is there a model number? Anything? If those numbers can't match what they see on their end, then they're not going to accept it either, right? They're not going to accept that those 50 widgets, whatever it is, are your thing just because you say so. And then the fourth thing that you have to think about with invoices is, are the numbers there? You have to make sure that your invoice shows more than what you currently have. It's more important with Inauthentics and working with seller performance, but it can also be a concern when you're just submitting invoices to Amazon for approvals. So to re-summarize, the first thing, does it say invoice? The second, does your official registered address match? Third thing, do you have some sort of information that matches the ASIN? So your UPC, your model number, your item number, item number. And then the last thing, do the quantities make sense? So if you are trying to sell something, does the invoice say 1? Did you order 1? They usually won't go for that. If you're trying to get ungated for subcategory, you need to demonstrate wholesale volumes. And so you should be buying, what they would consider to be a reasonable MOQ. Typically, you're going to be looking at least a dozen, potentially 3 or 4 dozen before they think that that's a reasonable amount. So just be aware that paperwork is all about knowing what Amazon is looking for and then consistently providing it. If you don't know what Amazon is looking for and you think, well, this is my piece of paper, this is what I've got. Okay, well, you can keep resubmitting it, but it's not going to work. And unless you like beating your head against the wall, then try something different. So again, this is something that we run into a lot. It's just basic things where the data doesn't match. Same thing with certificates of analysis. If you're trying to send it a COA and they can't match you to the COA, it's not going to work, right? So the COA should include something like ASIN match, UPC, model number, item number, like it should have something on there so that the COA can be matched, right? So you have all these different things that go into validating whether a product that you have is matched to the piece of paper that you're submitting. And then Christina put in a note here that said the last ungating project we worked on required 30 units of 3 different products. So really demonstrating that you are a wholesale seller, that's what they're looking for. That's what they think Marketplace should be. It's kind of weird. They're starting to realize that Marketplace is brands, but a lot of the paperwork people are still expecting that Marketplace is all about wholesale. So it's kind of awkward that way. And if you have any questions about this, or if you have specific questions about something you've been struggling with at Amazon, then join our Facebook group and ask questions there. I'm happy to provide feedback. So if you have any questions, that's the place to put it, is in our Facebook group. But this comes up all the time about paperwork. Have any of you had issues recently with trying to do ungating or trying to deal with Amazon in any way? Because I know that's a really common thing. And sorry for any background noise. I'm sure you can hear my son is awake. So it happens when we have morning sessions right before school starts. It's always good when he's cheerful in the morning. Okay. Okay, we have a question from Laszlo. So sorry, just a second. Okay, sorry about that. It's always nice when one's child is happy. So Laszlo has a comment. Do you think this language would be against TOS? Have you seen our Amazon store yet? Amazon store link. I've attached a free PDF user guide to this email, and the PDF would contain a page where we have a picture. Okay. Yep. 3, please reply to this email to let me know that you received the product. I'll give a coupon for the new purchase if you respond. Just let me know if you'd like that. And 4, hey, how did you hear about us? Always love to hear from our best customers. Okay. This is an interesting question. And the reason why it's interesting is because Amazon has a lot of rules around this that they have written in the prohibited seller policies and in the buyer seller message section in the help pages in Seller Central. But that being said, I have literally never worked on a case where someone got dinged for sending Amazon links. So one of the things that they prohibit is any links in the messages. But I have never seen anyone get dinged for an Amazon link, like a social media promotion, putting a URL in the messages or putting a tagged storefront link in there. I've never seen anyone get dinged for that. I have even seen people get suspended for improper use of images. That has actually happened, whereas I've never seen anyone get in trouble for sending Amazon links, Amazon URLs. So that's something to keep in mind there for number 1. Have you seen our Amazon store yet? Amazon store link. Technically speaking, on the paperwork, it says no links. But again, I have never seen anyone get in trouble for that, and we do that all the time with our clients. For number 2, but just keep in mind, it does say no links. So always know where the fence is before you decide to jump it. So 2, I've attached a free PDF user guide to this email. Yes, that's totally okay. And the PDF would have a picture of our complete product line and links to Amazon detail pages. Totally fine as well. The PDF user guide, that actually, if you're on Amazon Business, you can even put that onto your page, your user, your actual Amazon page if you want to. That's something you can do with an Amazon Business account, but that's totally fine. In fact, I actually recommend doing that. It can help with reducing returns and reducing customer defects, and that's always a good thing. 3, please reply to this email and let me know that you received the product. I'll give you a coupon for your new purchase if you respond. Just let me know if you'd like that. This is what's called driving contacts. I don't recommend it. Not because it's against the rules, but because it's just annoying for you. I would say just try to do first contact resolution. That's the concept. You sent out a message and you don't want to get a response. Like the whole point is to reduce your contacts, to reduce your potential defects. In this case, I would actually just say, thank you so much. It looks like your product has been confirmed delivered. Like use your tool that has like the delivery confirmation and have the email go out based on that. And say, here's your coupon code. You can do coupon codes on like promotional coupon codes, like up to a year in advance. We usually have clients do 10% off for repeat customers because you don't have to get that new customer, right? 10% off is great because you're having a customer that's a repeat. So something like that, we would just put the coupon code right into the email itself. Now, keep in mind, you're technically not supposed to mark it in those emails. But again, I have never seen Amazon get mad at you doing something that gets them more money on Amazon. I mean, I can see why, but just keep in mind that it says not to do that, no marketing. But again, never seen anyone get in trouble for it. Okay. Number 4, hey, how did you hear about us? Always love to hear from our best customers. If you're trying to figure out who is driving traffic to your page, then this is totally fine. You can always ask. When you're sending messages, follow-up messages to customers, always remember that if you put in too many calls to action, they often will miss one. So if you put in here's a promo and how did you hear about us? And here's a link, have you seen our store? If you do all of that, they're probably only going to choose one. So if you really want them to do one particular thing, if you don't care what they do, then fine, put them all in. But if you want them to do one particular thing, then only choose one call to action for a message. And you can always send 2 messages. I think that there was something that we're saying a while back about how they were going to limit the number of times that people could send messages. But for now, you can still send up to like 5 messages, I think. So I personally wouldn't do that. We usually do 1, at most 2 in a series. There's been some evidence that sending out 3 gets you the most response because sometimes customers miss things. I just think that's getting a teeny bit spammy by the time you get to 3. And thank you, Christina, for posting the prohibited seller activities and the exact verbiage. So yeah, this note here, specifically any advertisements, marketing messages, or calls to action to leave Amazon are prohibited. So that's the diverting messages. And then there's also marketing message in there somewhere, but you can see it. It's just, I've never seen anyone get in trouble for using marketing that directs you to Amazon, where Amazon gets more money. And then Laszlo also asks, is it okay to send Amazon coupon codes and follow-up emails? Isn't it promotional? Same concept. So it does say no promotion or marketing, and the specific language around that is kind of vague. So it's kind of that thing where I've tried to explain to people before who are like, oh, Amazon's policies change all the time. It's actually no, the policies are very consistent. Their enforcement changes all the time. So a lot of the rules that, except for reviews have changed a lot, but nearly everything else, the rules were always there. They just hadn't been enforcing them. So with something like this, again, I have never seen this enforced, and I suspect it's because Amazon's making money. So, I mean, whenever they're making money, they seem to be happy. So I would just make sure that you would always keep the coupon codes focused on Amazon, and make sure that you don't overdo it. So no going out and sending like 5 or 6 messages or marketing messages that don't have any sort of connection to a delivery event or an experience. You just want to be careful about that. But from what I've been able to see, there's no enforcement, no activity whatsoever on using the emails for marketing purposes. Okay. All right. Again, post questions in the chat if you have them. So the second thing that we've seen a lot of happening recently is inauthentic issues. Yes, you're very welcome, Lessa. And authentics are coming from the product policy team. Product policy started because of a lot of counterfeits that were listed on Amazon, a lot of counterfeits. And that's what they originally started to be, but then they started spreading to potential counterfeit, perceived fake, perceived used, basically any sort of customer issues that could come up. That team started enforcing on. So inauthentics are when a customer thinks that something is fake, not when Amazon thinks something is fake. If Amazon thinks it's fake, then they're usually just going to suspend you and not let you get back on. If they actually think it's fake, so you're selling fake Birkenstocks or fake Apple stuff, they're just going to suspend you. If a customer says that they think it's fake, then that's a different issue. That's usually what's called an inauthentic. And when a customer thinks something is fake, there's many reasons why a customer could think that. They could think it because your product looks dirty or used, or the package isn't correct. This happens a lot with shoes. If the shoe box isn't intact, then people are like, oh, I think it's fake. So the inauthentic piece is much more about proving provenance. Where did you get it? Is it from a place that sells legit product? Than it is, about anything else. And so they want paperwork for that, especially they want wholesale paperwork. And this comes back to the first thing I said, which was Amazon thought that Marketplace was all about wholesale sellers. And that's not the case. There's a lot more people who are on here that do lots of different things. So just keep in mind that that's what they're looking for. They want paperwork that reflects provenance, that you bought it from a legit place. Now, if you have receipts or you have something else that doesn't include the ASIN information, like it doesn't include anything that links to an ASIN, they're not going to be able to validate that it's real. So then they're not going to be very happy about that. If you have a situation where someone has complained about the authenticity of your product and you get a question from Amazon, you may not be okay with just the paperwork. Always send that first to try to get your item back. They may be trying to get you to prove that it's authentic looking. So sometimes we've actually seen that the solution was to create better packaging, and that got the item back. So just keep in mind that just because it says that it's inauthentic doesn't mean that you just need to prove that it's real. Sometimes you need to change how you're presenting it to customers so that they think it's real too. And then that solves the issue for Amazon. Tracy asks, is there a way to send a mass customer email to all customers at once? No. So there may be tools out there that let you do that. I know Feedback Genius just lets you go back 60 days. Some of the other tools may let you go back further. You would have to look into their actual terms to see what they do and how they do it. I know there's other ones like Feedback 5. I think Helium 10 might have one. Be Cool. There's a few out there. You can just Google Amazon automated email campaigns or something like that and see what they do. But in Amazon side, no, there's no way to do a mass customer email. So you may not want to anyway. You may want to be more targeted about how you're reaching out to your old customers and make sure that you link it to something like, so you've had the product for a while now. What do you think? We'd love to hear from our customers. Also, we're running a promo. And this has actually been done by a lot of people in the industry, and people keep getting away with it. So until it becomes spammy and obnoxious to customers, Amazon generally won't do anything about that. So if you're looking for a way to mass customer email all your customers, you can certainly do that within the last 60 days with Feedback Genius. Some of the other tools may have it go back further, but you can't do that with Amazon. You'd actually have to use an outside tool to do that. So let me just type in Feedback Genius in case you're not using that. It's a tool from Seller Labs. A whole bunch of other software solutions exist in this industry, though. Just be careful that whoever you're using, follows the rules. So I just don't want to get in trouble with something that they suggest. Like if they give you templates, take the templates with a grain of salt. Make sure you review and write things yourself, because you never know if their templates are outdated or might have misleading or leading content that Amazon wouldn't like. Okay. So Lee asks, the social promo coupon is interesting. Are your clients finding it works well for them? The thing that's most important to keep in mind about the social promo coupon is that is one of the only ways that you can see if your traffic off of Amazon to your detail page is actually converting. So a lot of times you'll get great impressions and clicks on Facebook, and then you go and look at your page and you're like, nothing bumped. What's going on? It's because there's no other way to tell using Amazon where the traffic came from. So if you do a social promo coupon and you put that as the link for people to click, it automatically appends to their cart. So if they end up buying, then you can actually see who bought using that promo code. It's the main useful part of that. And the reason why I like that better than a regular promo code is because a regular promo code you have to copy paste and then put in. That's fine for big marketing messages or ones that you can set and forget, because you can make that go for a year. The social promo codes only work for 30 days. So you'd have to be constantly updating your Feedback Genius, which, maybe you want to check it to that level of detail. But for the regular promo codes, they last for up to a year. The social promo codes are great for A/B testing as well. So if you've got something you're testing on Facebook to see what works better, put one link for ad A, for one link for ad B, and then you can see which one converts better. But it's absolutely essential to find a way to validate that traffic. It's so obnoxious to spend a bunch of money on Google traffic and Facebook traffic, and you see your traffic numbers go up, but no sales going up. And so you're spending money for what? So I really like the social promo coupon for that purpose, and tracking what off Amazon influencers or what off Amazon advertising is working well. And as far as working well just by itself, it depends on what your goals are. If you're just trying to get people to click, it's just another URL. It definitely is more efficient than the regular promo code, in my opinion. Okay, so the third thing I wanted to talk about this morning is Q4 preparation and making sure that you guys are on top of things. First thing to update you on is that the LTL shipments, the pallets, are already 2 weeks behind. So thank you. This is my job, right? I'm the Amazon nerd. know all the things. I actually saw something new on Amazon yesterday, updating the settings on a listing, and I hadn't seen that before. So now we're like, what is this? Let's go and investigate what this is. Always gotta know what's going on with Amazon. For LTL shipments, just to get back to the Q4 topic, they're already about 2 weeks behind for Q4. If you have LTL shipments that you need to get in before Black Friday, it needs to ship out this week. Like, get it out as fast as possible so it'll receive in time. Those things already take about 2 weeks to receive, and it's taking another 2 weeks to come in. So this is really it. If you want to get it in before Black Friday, you really need to ship right now. If you're doing small parcel, it's still the same as usual. It takes about a week to get there, and then about another week to transship. So about 2 weeks total. I don't think there's really any way to speed that up. So the other thing for Q4 prep that we're seeing is Amazon is making changes to their catalog. It's really annoying. So we're making changes to client listings. A week later, it's reverting back to something that was there a month ago, having to go back in, resubmit it over and over again. Also keep in mind that the catalog feed, the actual content, is different than the photo feed. It goes through a whole different process. So you may be able to get your listings updated from a content perspective, but not from an image perspective. You may have to file some tickets to get those to go through. But give it at least 2 days. Usually it takes up to a day to show. So give it 2 days. If it doesn't work then file a ticket. Okay. So that is annoying. I think no more annoying than last year when there was a big catalog update on Thanksgiving, the day before Black Friday. Thanks, guys. That's so helpful. So for now, just keep in mind, I would always keep an offline copy of anything that you update, either in Google Docs or Google Sheets, just so that you've always got a copy. Otherwise, there was one upload that happened recently where a client's entire catalog was wiped, and we had to then go back and use an old file and then re-upload it. Now, it only took a little while to re-upload everything, but that was because we had copies of everything. So copies of everything, you're good. Okay, so that is our live for Wednesday. If you have any questions about what we talked about, what is the SOP around submitting paperwork, any questions about paperwork that you submitted that didn't work, join our Facebook group to ask those questions so that you can have that reference. I typically am in the Facebook group twice a week. I typically will go for Tuesday and Friday, but sometimes I know some of you have seen that it's been Monday or Thursday, or I've had to go in on the weekend. I just moved recently, so trying to juggle all of the things has been fun, but typically it'll be Tuesday and Friday. And then if there's something that I think is really important that comes in, then I may take a break and go answer that as well. Like if it's some sort of emergency situation or Amazon has just come up with some crazy new policy change, then I'll pop in there and make that comment. Okay. All right. So that is it for this week. I hope everyone has a fabulous rest of their day, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody next Wednesday. All right. Bye, everybody.